last thing we need are new areas of uncertainty, instability and division.
Bad for Scotland, bad for the people of Scotland, bad for business in Scotland.
When the solid world of everyday reality disintegrates and the whole population is driven by fear towards insanity.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid!
No, be afraid. Be very afraid.
Is this thing on?
If there's one group of people that are annoyingly difficult to frighten, it's young people. After all, there really isn't much point in being young if you're pessimistic about the future.
So what, we go out, that's how it's supposed to be. Living young and wild and free.
Yeah. And there's no better expression of this fresh-faced support for a yes vote than National Collective. In fact, this group of artists and writers ended up getting involved in a genuinely scary run-in with a certain oil baron who financed the official No campaign to the tune of £500,000. Ian Taylor was chief executive of a company called Vitol at the same time that it pled guilty to charges of grand larceny. That's basically massive theft to you and I. There were charges concerning payments made to Iraqi officials under Saddam Hussein. Yes, that's that same Saddam Hussein. Vitol also made a financial contribution to the Serbian paramilitary leader Željko Ražnatović, better known as Arkan, a man who was indicted by the UN for crimes against humanity but was assassinated before he could stand trial. The same day as National Collective ran this story, the Scottish press were largely silent. In fact, in an attempt to kill satire stone dead, the Scotsman actually ran this. The entire Scottish media, with the exception of the Herald, ignored the Ian Taylor story. In their wisdom, they didn't think it was in anyone's interest to know about it. Almost immediately, Ian Taylor's lawyers got in touch with those who had carried the story, telling them in no uncertain terms that they should remove it and apologise for its inaccuracy under threat of a defamation suit. Now, whatever you might think about the rights and the wrongs of the Ian Taylor donation, it was clearly news, and it was clearly as important and as exciting as many of the stories the press did decide to run with. National Collective recognised this, and although their website went down for several days, they refused to comply with Taylor's lawyers in a show of defiance that culminated in this press conference, again largely ignored by the press.
Such corporate bullying tactics are an attack on freedom of speech. We will not be silenced or bullied by legal intimidation.
So why are the mainstream media so inept and seemingly so keen to ignore online journalism? In Scotland, a once proud press that used to produce some of the best journalism in the English language is now cowering on its knees. Newspapers in particular have been hemorrhaging readership figures for years. Those falling audience figures equal less money, which equals less journalists, which logically equals less journalism. Johnston Press, which owns The Scotsman and a vast swathe of local newspapers, has laid off over 635 staff members since it bought the national title in 2005. In November 2012, circulation figures for The Scotsman itself stood at just over 28,000. That's less than half what it was 10 years ago. Compare that to the internet, where the overheads rarely exceed the cost of a swivel chair and a broadband connection. Here, writers don't have to be beholden to the agendas of editors or proprietors. Granted, they don't get paid a lot of the time either, but the online press is far more current, far more interactive, and thus, in many ways, far more accountable to its readers. A vast array of websites and blogs have appeared over the past decade, engaging with the questions that Scottish independence poses. The rise of digital media has not only energised and focused people on the subject of Scotland's future, but it's also created a useful byproduct, namely that big, powerful organisations like Vitol or the SNP or any institution with an agenda can't silence their critics. It's therefore no coincidence that a cause like Scottish self-determination, one that's been ignored and derided by every mainstream media institution for the best part of a century, has at last found its true expression in the digital age. For supporters of the status quo, however, this flowering of genuine engagement in the ideas and aspirations of our democracy must be cast as a sinister threat.
It could get very nasty, couldn't it?